The following program was paid for by the friends and partners of WLMB-TV 40 Toledo.
Well, and it kind of made me think back to your question previously about what are some of the excuses. One of the common ones is, but he likes to do this and I like to do that. We don't really like to do the same things. Well, we really encourage couples, take out a piece of paper and write down what you would want to do on a date, and your spouse writes down what they would want to do on a date, and then sit there and look at them and say, how can we make these two happen? How can we play golf and go shopping?
Popular marriage experts Jay and Laura Laffoon, also known as the Marriage Edu-tainers, are here today to share hilarious insights and wisdom on marriage, and more specifically, the importance of dating and getting away as a couple. For additional marriage enrichment, we'll also hear about Jay and Laura's ultimate date night events and their Celebrate Your Marriage conferences. Well, Jay and Laura, thank you so much for being here today.
It's great to be here. Great to be here.
Well, if we could start off, if you could share a little bit about yourselves and also how you came to have this passion to help others have a successful marriage.
Well, we've been married 32 very lovely long years.
Well, 30 of them were okay.
Right. We have been married 32 years, and we always knew we wanted to do ministry with our spouse. That was the one thing that attracted us to each other. We have 2 kids and a daughter-in-law, so we have 3 kids and a granddog. That's what
right,
we
a
have.
Grand dog.
Grand
Yes.
dog.
They're very special as
Well,
well.
we were in youth ministry together, and parents were asking us to do parenting seminars because, our kids love you guys, and, can you tell us how to parent? And the more we looked into parenting issues, the more we realized that they were really marriage issues manifest with the kids. Mom and dad aren't on the same page. The kids are a mess. So we started, let's research marriage and talk to couples about how to celebrate. We'd been to enough by this time of our own of getting beat up and getting, here's the things you're doing wrong.
Other marriage stuff, not beating each other.
No,
Just
not
to
us.
clarify.
Yeah. But so we thought, let's be positive. Let's be proactive. Let's teach people how to celebrate, because that's really kind of who we are and our personality. And so we have developed comedy and a lot of humor and a lot of fun to help couples realize what it means to celebrate their marriage.
Well, wonderful. Today's show, we're going to be talking about dating and getting away as a couple. So, start things off. Why do you guys like to date each other? Why do you love to date each other?
We do.
Keeps her happy. No,
I would say one of the reasons I like to date, for us to go on dates, is because, especially when our kids were young, we would take kids with us and do fun things, but you didn't really focus on just each other. And so really having that time on a date to just focus on the other person, now with the invention of cell phones and all those fun things, that's not always a thing that happens. Because the cell phone sits right here with the notifications of email coming in, and someone checks his phone a lot. But it is
dating
focused.
keeps the romance alive. That's what it does.
So what does dating look like for you two?
Very
Lunch.
different. It looks very different because we work nights and weekends. Our shows are on the weekends. And so, for example, today we're going to go to IKEA, and that's going to be our date.
That sounds fun to me.
Spend a couple hours, wandering through this massive maze and just spend time together.
Well, we do stuff like go out to lunch. We rarely get to go out for dinner because that's a weekend thing, at least in my mind, because once we're home, we're home. But lunch, we like to golf, so we do a lot of golfing in the good months where we can, and then we walk a lot together, do walks. Exercise is actually
we like
something
to cook together.
Yeah, we do love to cook together. That's something that we've developed over the last couple years of cooking together.
So, like I said, we're pretty normal.
All right. Well, how often do you think couples should date?
Weekly.
Yeah, I think for those, like go rent if you subscribe to Netflix or whatever, put the kids to bed and watch a movie on Netflix. That, in my mind, is a date. But going out and having a meal together once, every couple weeks, because it can get expensive. And so trying to think of those things, like we enjoy cooking together, for us, that's a date, and that's not expensive. We have to eat,
right.
And we do like to eat. So, but, Netflix is something that could be cheap that you could do once a week. And
Redbox movie.
Right. So
All right,
being creative.
So what are the benefits of dating?
Well, there's no question it keeps you connected as a couple. If you actually go out and you spend time connecting with each other, you're going to stay connected as a couple. And obviously the romance keeps the romance alive, keeps that friendship alive. I think
Right, I was going to say the friendship.
almost all of us would agree we married our best friend.
Right.
Well, you don't want to drift apart. So there's many
Doing
benefits.
things together does connect you. It gives your wife that conversation that she needs. You know, keeping the romance alive, having time to just focus again. We get so busy in our lives with our kids' schedules and our schedules that just having that time to just
Be with each other.
reconnect and talk about here's what's going on in my life, your life, our life, the kids' lives, you know, just having that connection time.
Now, you guys always mix in laughter into your show. So why is laughter so important in marriage?
Oh, because we take life way too seriously. I think as a general population, everything is so serious, and laughter just really can help.
Well, obviously you've heard the scripture, Proverbs 17:22, laughter doeth like good medicine. And the science behind it backs it up, because science tells us that when we laugh, we release endorphins into our body. And those endorphins are a natural opiate that actually heals us from the inside out. And so laughter is hugely important. Even in tough times, we still laugh.
Well, and that's I was going to say that too. For as far as incorporating it into our date nights and our conferences, sometimes it's easier for us to hear the things we need to hear if we've laughed a little bit first. We kind of break down the walls, we kind of relax a little bit, and then we'll hit them with some hard truth, and they'll go, oh, that makes sense.
Well, we actually got an email from a couple who lost their son to suicide. And they said, we hadn't laughed in 6 months for obvious reasons, but we knew we needed to, so we came to the date night. We had a great time. Thank you for bringing joy back into our life. And I think that really is, for most of us, something we long for. We long to laugh and to especially hear our spouse laugh. There's nothing more attractive than that.
Well, talking about dating, what if, one of the spouses says, well, I really don't want to spend the money in it. I really want to save up for, a new TV. They want the things versus doing things together.
Experiences are always going to last longer than things.
Yeah.
And that's something I've had to learn. I mean, we're going to IKEA for a date. Let's be clear. I like things. But experiences and the living life together and some of the fun things. And sometimes it is, I don't want to spend that money doing that. But spending the money on a date is a lot cheaper than spending the money on a divorce lawyer or a counselor, because your marriage is going in the tank.
Absolutely, absolutely. What other excuses or obstacles do you often hear, for people saying, I don't want to go?
Sure. One of the big ones is childcare. And so one of the best things that we can do is to suggest that you find some people in your church or in your neighborhood who have children the same age. And Laura has coined it the girlfriend swap. And so basically, twice a month, once a month, we'll take your kids for the night, free of charge, and once a month you take our kids free of charge, and then you don't have to pay for childcare. We had a guy come up to us after a date night. He said, my Uncle Ron and Aunt Sue weren't my Uncle Ron and Aunt Sue, but once a month, Mom and Dad would drop us at their house and go out on a date. And he's like, they were brilliant.
And it's good for the kids. The kids enjoy being together. So if you have kids the same age and you can share those responsibilities of childcare, then it gives everybody, both marriages, a great date, but the kids will also have a good time too.
All right, so, for those couples out there that don't have kids, they're empty nesters, is dating still important for them?
Absolutely.
We're empty nesters. And let me tell you what, once you become an empty nester, the dating opportunities become endless.
But I think we thought it would be easier when the kids were gone to date, that we just thought we would just naturally do that because it's just us. But we really have to go.
We have to plan them.
Hey, we need to go out to lunch, or we need to go play golf, or we need to go to IKEA, or whatever it might be, because we need to have that date time. And I think it's more important sometimes when you're an empty nester, or just as important, because your kids are gone. And so your focus on them isn't there anymore. So now you need to focus on each other. And sometimes that's not always something that you've done while the kids were growing up. You've focused on the kids, and now it's harder to date because, ooh, what are we going to do? I have to look at you now across the table instead of taking care of little Johnny or something. I don't know.
Yes, Laura has the spiritual gift of sarcasm.
Well, what are some practical dating tips or ideas for couples?
I think a regular date night or a date time for us, again, it's Wednesdays because of our schedule. And you put it on the calendar, you commit to it. It's in stone. It's like any other appointment that you would have. That's very important. It's also important to do things like I would never choose to go to IKEA. but I know she wants to, and so I'm going to go do that. There's a museum in Flint, Michigan I want to go see. She would probably never choose to go to a museum, but we're going to do that. You know, stuff like that where you compromise and allow the other person to have some real joy and to not gripe and moan while you're doing the thing that you don't want to do.
Well, and it kind of made me think back to your question previously about what are some of the excuses. One of the common ones is, but he likes to do this and I like to do that. We don't really like to do the same things. Well, we really encourage couples, you know, take out a piece of paper and write down what you would want to do on a date, and your spouse writes down what they would want to do on a date, and then sit there and look at them and say, how can we make these two happen? How can we play golf and go shopping? Well, golf courses have pro shops, so that works. You know, or go out to dinner and go a cooking class, you know, whatever it is, but you can sit there, and then once you've made those lists, then you go put it on the calendar. You know, we're gonna go to the Sloan Museum in Flint, Michigan, because the Titanic exhibit is there, and that just, you know, that turns his crank. It'll be something fun, but we're gonna go put it on the calendar and say, this is what we're gonna do right now. So
here's the other thing that I've learned, is that I used to gripe when I'd have to go shopping, until I realized that if I'm griping, it's dragging her down, so neither one of us are having a good time. If I can watch her have a good time and appreciate that as a spouse, then it's a double blessing. You know, knowing that we are not going to shop every time, you know, every date, you know, I can live
and as long
through
as there's a good man chair in the mall, he has his phone, he's good.
Good.
Well, yes, there's definitely compromise in marriage, and so, you know, we're focused on dating in marriage, but we're also going to be talking about getting away and how important that is as well, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
This is something too fun you can do when you are getting away and getting ahead. We're here for this getaway. Where do we want to go next?
And you've got to put it in the budget. I mean, you've got to realize that it's going to cost some money. But again, just like dating, it's cheaper than therapy. And it's a lot more fun.
Even the parents of God himself, okay? Jesus' parents, Joseph and Mary, all right? They were messed up. Do you remember the story where they left Jesus in Jerusalem for 3 days? This is 3 days, you know? It's not like, hey, have you seen Jesus? No, not for 3 days. They didn't even ask the question. When we first got married, you'd laugh at everything I would say. I could make you laugh in an instant. When did I go from amusing to annoying? I want to know.
At the altar.
At the altar.
Now, back to Main Street.
And I am here with Jay and Laura Laffoon, marriage edutainers. And Jay and Laura, you know, that is you guys in action at one of your ultimate date night events. And so I want to encourage people to definitely check that out. And we're going to talk about that more in a little bit. But first, you know, we've been talking about dating, but now I want to switch that over to talk about getting away as a couple. And so, you know, why is that important, and how's that different than just dating?
We've coined the phrase get away and get ahead.
Okay.
When you get away, you as a couple, you get ahead. You are able to, again, enhance the romance, enhance the connection. And it doesn't have to be like you're getting away for a whole week. It could be a simple overnight. Maybe you leave the kids at Grandma and Grandpa's and you know, find a little hotel someplace, or maybe you take them to Grandma and Grandpa's and you have a staycation at home. But when you break your normal routine, science tells us your mind works different, your body works different, and it really allows you to go new places as a couple.
Well, and I think too, as we were talking about earlier, those experiences, having the experience of whether it's just a little hotel in your town or you go away to a marriage conference. I think we'll talk about that later. But it's that experience that you're having together, you know, the car drive, the things that you're seeing, that's one of the reasons we love what we get to do, because we'll go out early or stay late in a town that we've never been in before and just explore and have those experiences. And so I think that's really important too, to keep your marriage healthy.
Here's the other thing. When it comes to relationships, our culture says, ooh, spontaneous romance.
No such thing.
Right, forgetting that anticipation is one of the strongest emotions we can have. It's why we get excited for Christmas and why we get excited for birthdays. And when you put a getaway on the calendar, well, as a couple, you can, on your date nights, oh, I can't wait till we're going to such and such a place, or, you know, I can't wait for that next time we're getting away, just the two of us. And that anticipation builds a lot of positive
And
feelings
you
for
can
each
have
other.
anticipation about going out on a date. You know, we're going to go out for dinner Friday night, so you have that anticipation. And dating is hugely important, but scheduling those times to get away twice a year, you know, even if you can do that, if you can only do once a year, do it once a year. But twice a year would be optimal for that anticipation. But also, I know for us, this is just a funny little side story. It's something we've always done for our anniversary. It's first week in December, and we've always either gone away overnight when our kids were young, or as they got older, we'd leave for 3 or 4 days. And our daughter's senior year in high school, we did not go because it's senior year, you got to save money, you got to do this, you got to do that. And in the middle of that week where she realized we were home and it was our anniversary, she yelled at us. She was like,
She
"You
dressed
call
us up one
yourselves
side and
the
down."
marriage experts and you didn't go away." And we're like, so it communicates to your kids too that your
Absolutely.
marriage is important and that this relationship is a priority.
Well, yes, you need to be, as you said, you need to be very intentional, you know, about getting away. Does it matter how long couples have been married? You know, those empty nesters, you know, should they still be getting away as well?
Oh,
Absolutely.
certainly. Yeah, I think it's an ongoing, it's a habit. It's
Right.
got to be a habit that you do all your married
And you
life.
start early in your marriage, you know, even as, you know, kids who are, I call them kids, you know, honeymooners, you go on your honeymoon, that's your first experience that you have together as a husband and wife, and you're going away and you're having those experiences. Well, go ahead on your honeymoon, set the next time you're going to go, you know, and begin
that's a
that
good
habit
idea.
early. And that is something, too, fun you can do when you are getting away and getting ahead. We're here for this getaway. Where do we want to go next?
And,
you know,
and you've got to
again-
put it in the budget. I mean, you've got to realize that it's going to cost some money. But again, just like dating, it's cheaper than therapy. And it's a lot more fun.
Well, hey, you know, we're talking about getting away as couples. So, you know, you guys host your Celebrate Your Marriage conferences. Maybe you could tell our viewers out there a little bit about them.
Sure. We're from Michigan, and there's a little island in Michigan called Mackinac Island where there are no automobiles allowed. Everything is horse-drawn carriage, bicycles, throwback
Or
to the
your feet.
Or your feet. And there's a wonderful hotel there called Grand Hotel. It's the world's largest summer-only hotel.
Maybe some people have seen the movie Somewhere in Time
Right.
with Jane Seymour and
Christopher
Christopher
Reeve.
Reeves. That's a
Yes.
Grand Hotel.
Anyway, the front porch is over 2 football fields long.
Wow.
And it is lined with rocking chairs, and you look out over the Straits of Mackinac, and it's just absolutely one of the most romantic places on the planet. Why we picked it. Now the guys are going, well, why would I want to go someplace romantic? Well, there's a lot of benefits, gentlemen, but the main attraction for the guys, the food there is incredible, and it's included in the price. The grand luncheon buffet, I said 2 football fields for the front porch, takes up half the front porch. I mean, it's just,
Nice.
it's unbelievable. And so we couch a conference called Celebrate Your Marriage at this wonderful place where you're going to get built up and uplifted and given tools to really learn to celebrate.
One of the components of our conference that we don't negate or there's no compromise. We will always do it. On the evening after dinner, we have a comedy concert. We always bring in a comedian or a communicator who can be funny, but we really want couples to laugh and have a good time together. And you're going to get biblical tools for your marriage in the whole conference, but we really, that laughter part, that laughter component is a real priority for us at the conference.
Now, who do you guys encourage to go? Is this for everyone?
Oh, heavens,
Absolutely.
yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We've had everything from honeymooners
We've had people honeymoon.
to kids. Again, I call them kids, but kids whose parents have sent them because they are struggling and they do need a little shot in the arm. And that really does, they go, you know, wow, this was great. I didn't think I was like mom and dad are sending us here, but they really had a blast.
The hotel has 400 rooms. We'll fill the hotel, and about 1/3 of our attendees come every year. They say it's their annual tune-up. And for a lot of couples, they continue to do well because they set aside this time, they get away, and they get ahead. And it really is an opportunity for couples on a regular basis to go, hey, we're going to have a great time.
All right, so you guys also have your ultimate date night events, and you travel across the country doing these events. Maybe you could tell our viewers a little bit about
Well, the
those
ultimate date
events.
night is really 90 minutes of music, comedy, and fun for couples. Biblical truths thrown in, obviously, but it really is just a 90-minute show, and that's
The cost
what
of a
we-
movie ticket. And so the conference is obviously a little more expensive. It's an overnight at a hotel. What we've done is shrunk the conference into 90 minutes, and we bring it to communities where they can you know, go, hey, it's like going to a movie, only it's a live show. And really it's fun. We have a lot of fun. It's you know, your cheeks are going to be aching, your sides are going to be hurting because you're laughing so much.
But
And-
you're reconnecting with your spouse, and that really is the important thing, is that you are spending time focused on each other, connecting, laughing, having a good time, but you're also going to learn something that's going to help your marriage.
All right, now, when you guys were here last time, you guys had just written your book, He Said, She Said, and but Laura, you've got a new book out, all about the shoes.
Yep,
Tell us about that.
It's all about the shoes, your journey to the extraordinary life. And I'll tell you, it was like a 3-year pregnancy. You know, it's like when you're pregnant, and women, you will understand this. When you're pregnant, you just want, okay, it's all lovey-dovey for the first 3 months, and then you're like, I just want this to be done. Well, 3 years later, I was just ready for it to be done. But it is something that I was very passionate about. Women living an extraordinary life, not living the next person's life or that person over there. And in this age of Facebook, you know, you always see everybody's A game and feel like you're living your B role. And so I really wanted to just encourage women to, you know what, God's gifted you for something very specific for his kingdom. Figure out what that is and do it. And I use the metaphor of shoes because I am a shoes person. I love shoes.
That's an understatement.
If I ask how many pairs of shoes do you have, should we not answer
it's like
that?
the hairs of my head. Too many to count.
Too many to count. But what I really feel like the Lord gave this to me one day when I was running, and the shoes that we wear tell us a lot about ourselves. I'm a flip-flop slipper person. You know, to wear high heels for me, I do it on stage, but in your comfortable shoes, those are your friendships, the people that you're comfortable with, that you live life with. You know, your high-heeled shoes, I called those your sexy shoes. And we talk about that part of your life. And then your dancing slippers, living with abandon before the Lord. And so all different parts of our lives, but wrapped up in that component of shoes. And so it was a really fun project. It was a long project. I'm glad it's over and done with. And Jay's so when are you writing your next one? Never. But
I want to brag on it for
Another
just a
3-year
second.
pregnancy.
thank you.
She really incorporates a lot of wonderful stories from other women, not just her stories, but other women's stories that are powerful, poignant. You'll be laughing and you'll be crying. It's a great book. Very excited. It's going to touch a lot of lives, and really for ladies to live that extraordinary life. One of her most favorite sayings is, masquerading as the ordinary is exhausting. And really, God did not create you to be ordinary. He created you to be you. And when you grab a hold of that and let yourself shine through, your beauty really shines
too many
through.
of us settle for ordinary because we want to just be like the next person. We think that woman over there has different, I want to have what she has. I want to be able to do what my best friend is an amazing baker. I wish I could bake like she does. I can't, but I can rejoice in the fact that she can do that, and
she brings it over to our house.
Yeah, hey, bring me a cake. But rejoice in the fact that she can do that, but figure out what it is that I can do that, you know, that's extraordinary. And so that really is all wrapped up there in that it's all about the shoes.
All right. Well, what other resources do you offer to help build healthy marriages?
We've got an online TV show that's 3 to 5 minutes a week. It's just we're answering relationship questions. We do have our Facebook page. We're constantly posting blogs and different marriage resources. And then our website, jayandlaura.com, jayandlaura.com. We've got free stuff there. We've got some resources you can purchase that are more specific maybe to your specific needs, like He Said, She Said, which is a book about communication.
And we have a couple other books and DVDs and stuff, but we also on our Facebook page, we'll post different articles and stuff, not only stuff that we've written, but that other marriage experts have written, so that you can benefit from every marriage expert that we come in contact with. We like to just be able to share their information so that you can learn something too for your own marriage from somebody else.
And I know on your website people can also find out
where we're going to be.
Where you're going to be, because then you have your conferences in May.
May and October. Every May, every October, celebrate your marriage up at Grand Hotel. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to encourage folks, get out there, check out their website, and be sure to plan your next getaway and include Jay and Laura in it as well. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Now, back to Main Street.
When we want to succeed and do well at something, we're willing to put time and effort into it. So are you putting time and effort into your marriage? I know in my own marriage for years, I didn't want to spend money on dating. Honestly, I saw it as grocery money flying out the window. But my husband didn't give up easily. Eventually, he got his way, and now we date weekly. It's part of our family's budget, and it shows me and our kids how much he values our marriage. Well, in John 15:13, it says, "Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends." By the simple act of prioritizing dating and giving up time and money that could have been used for other things, this has blessed our marriage tremendously. If you're not dating your spouse, I want to encourage you to make it a priority. You won't regret it. Thank you for joining us on Main Street today. We would love to hear your feedback. You can visit us on our website or on social media on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at WLMB-TV 40.
We hope that Main Street has been a blessing to you today. Please feel free to contact the following to learn more about the topics discussed on today's show. WLMB would like to thank all the faithful supporters of WLMB that make this program possible.